All right, hi everyone. Welcome back to Neither Here Nor There Conversations Across. I'm Danny.
Hi everyone, I'm Christina. This is our season 2. This season, our topic will be focused on Crossroads.
Yep, Crossroads. Bit of a heavy topic, honestly. It's a bit of a heavy topic.
It is. For the audience, crossroads in life, not just, the crossroads on the street.
Oh my god. Was that a bit of a dad joke? That was a bit of a dad joke.
Season 2, Danny. Did we ever think we'll be here? It's what a surprise, no?
I'm pretty excited, and I'm glad that everyone is joining us again. I
hope you're still there.
I hope you're still there. Our 11 followers, our 11 listeners. Yes. But anyways, I'm really excited to be back here. Wow. I want to see what we do.
And I think just to kick it off, I think season 2, there's some...
Wait. We haven't even talked about this. If anyone's watching this, have you noticed Christina's hair is she's now a redhead. She's now a redhead. Just so everyone knows. Take a look.
Guys, I am trying to, live a new chapter for you guys.
She said she was going to go blonde. And I was kind of hoping for the blonde.
I'm so sorry. I really thought I was going to go blonde, but then my stylist was like... I don't think blonde is yours.
So now she's convincing me to try to go blonde. What do you think?
Someone has to go blonde.
Would I look good blonde?
Give us a shout if Danny should go blonde. The one person will respond.
The one of the 11 people. All right. Take it away. What are we talking about today?
So I think to kick off our season 1, we want to talk about facing crossroads. I think there's different ways of looking at crossroads, and I think you and I have faced many different crossroads in life, right? And I think we'll cover many different topics, I think, throughout the next few episodes.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get to talk to some interesting people who also have faced interesting crossroads as well, like big life decisions. I think that's what we mean by crossroads.
Yeah.
And how they came across and how they decided that.
Can you elaborate a little bit more about what crossroads is metaphorically in life?
I think a lot of people, especially at our age, we're young, 18 years old, we have to make decisions of what career you want to take, which country you want to live in, who do you want to marry, how do you want to, raise your family. Some people have to make decisions about, going into a different life path, imagine, So I think there's just a lot of
decision. Does that lead into stuff like spirituality and religion?
I think all of it, right? People make decisions in different ways.
Yeah.
Especially when they don't know the answer and no one knows the future. So people rely on religion, people rely on community, people rely on astrology, people rely on any kind of way to feel reassured.
That could be the crossroads thing, because crossroads is technically what path do you choose, right?
Right.
It's divided in the path, and sometimes along the way your identity changes, your spirituality changes, or something changes, and sometimes maybe you adopt religion, maybe you
go away from religion,
maybe you drop all your friends and pick up new friends, or stuff like that. It's about changing perspective as well as you go along, because that's a bit of a crossroads too. Changing your
even all of that, right?
Yeah, and adopting new ideas, getting rid of new ideas, changing, adapting, all that kind of stuff. Okay, yeah.
So I think that's going to be what we covered today.
Man, that's a very heavy topic. I don't know. That's a heavy topic.
That's a theme of the season, actually. So it's going to be maybe fun, maybe some tears, maybe some laughter.
Maybe some tears. She's going to bring me to tears. Okay. All right.
We haven't, touched upon... I think what's going to happen in season 2 is nothing's off limits.
Oh, dear.
We shall see. So, Danny.
Okay, I got my laptop here. I've got the notes in front of me. I'm not going to forget this time.
No worries. So to kick off, when you think about decisions, do they excite you, make you nervous? Do they, I don't know, what goes through your mind?
When I make decisions?
When you're in front of decision making.
Gosh, so I remember just thinking about this the other day as I was reading through what we're going to talk about, and I think I've lived most of my life on impulse, and I don't think that's a great way to do it. I wouldn't recommend it, just because sometimes you don't really go through the entire knowledge base in your brain, and sometimes you just do it by gut reaction, by feeling. And I think as I've gotten older, I think just maturity set in, not more hesitant, just pausing for a minute to make my decisions. And I've now forgotten what your question is.
Do you feel like you're less like you use your gut less in making decisions now, or more?
It depends on the situation.
Okay.
It really depends on the situation.
Okay.
And how quickly I need to make a decision. Honestly, if it's a really quick decision, it'll be gut reaction.
Maybe like a bigger, more important decision.
Bigger, more important decision with a little bit more time. I don't just do gut reaction. I definitely take my time and evaluate all the different things. I think most people don't really know this about me, or I think when you meet me for the first time, you honestly probably might think that I'm really spiritual, really like, you know, go off of feelings. But I'm a huge thinker. I think and obsess. I analyze like so many things all the time until it kind of drives me crazy, to be honest.
Overthinking.
So I'm a thinker.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a thinker.
Yeah.
So now with bigger life decisions, definitely a thinker. And I think the last big decision I made was whether or not I was going to stay in Taiwan. And that was a huge decision because, you know, when I left the States when I was 24, my dream was always to move from the East Coast, go to the West Coast, you know, live that Cali life in the sun. You know, I've got my nose ring ready and everything. I would settle in. I'll be ready to take those mushrooms, you know. Anyways, but you know, moving back to Asia, and, you know, I ended up staying here because of this, that, and whatever. And earlier last year, 2024, I had to make the decision of, am I going to stay or am I going to go? And I made the decision to stay. And that was a pretty big crossroads. You know, that was a pretty big fork in the road. What am I going to do? America or Asia?
And that was more like after analyzing kind of the pros and cons, where you wanted, you know, before you jumped into that.
I analyzed the pros and cons. I talked to a couple people, both in the States and both in, you know, in Asia, and made my decision from there. And also kind of looked at what opportunities were available to me at that moment.
So a very rational approach to this.
It was a rational approach, which is quite different from when I was, you know, even just a
Younger.
couple of years ago.
That's very interesting because I think for the people who know me, I actually, growing up, or like even in college, even in my 20s, I had no such concept of gut. Like gut for me does not exist. I don't know what gut feeling is. I don't know what my gut is. With that said, I will say for the last maybe couple of years, this gut feeling has gotten much stronger, particularly for other people. Like my gut feeling about what you should do versus for me, which is very fascinating.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about this. What is a gut feeling? Like, a gut feeling is, like, for me, it's, like, it's having whatever knowledge you have in there, and it's, like, condensing it all into, like, a split second into a feeling. It's condensing all that information into a feeling. Right?
So then for me, sometimes, I don't know based on what information, but I just have a strong inclination that should happen for someone else. And I am more willing to accept that because I have no stake in the game, essentially.
Hopefully you give them good gut feelings.
No, but I just tell them about what I feel like they should do. But for example, who someone should date. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's their relationship and their life. But I somehow will be like strong feeling like, that's the one.
Hopefully they're a good person. Hopefully they're a good person.
Yeah, I mean.
God. All right.
So for you, one of the major decisions have been like where to go, where to stay, and that's been like a major crossroad for you.
I mean, there have been other crossroads that I don't know if I'm ready to share with the podcast, but yeah, that was probably the biggest like life decision one.
Which one do you think really changed the course of your of your life?
The one when I was 24 and I left the States.
Yeah.
That changed the course of my life. Like, I had the choice to stay in the West or go back east, you know? And my life would have been so much more different. I mean, I would have been more separated from my family, and I would have had less support. And I think it would have been easier to do that back then than it is now. So that's why earlier last year I was really contemplating, like, do I actually want to spend the next at least 5 years, I think, in Asia? Because that's what I would be doing. That was that was the same thing, just in different places.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me how I ended up staying in Asia. And, again, my dream was to be a Cali girl. And I still have that dream to be a Cali girl. I mean, my dad's got that Stingray Corvette in San Diego, and I I dream of just, letting down my hair, taking off that roof of the car and just being in a convertible, going on that PCT, just driving. That's, still my dream. But for now, at least, here. And I'm okay with that, Either way, I've made that choice. It's like that whole universe, different paths in the universe, right? You make that choice. This is the one I'm living. I'm not going to be living the other one just anytime soon, I guess.
I know, but do you ever feel like nostalgic about, I don't even know if nostalgia is a word because it's a life that you didn't have.
Regret. The word's regret.
But it's not even necessarily like, just like think about like what could have been,
I think it would have been rocky. I think it would have been like I think it would have become an artist a lot sooner. I think I would have become an artist a lot sooner.
For those who don't know, you also had a decision actually to make in terms of your career to become a full-time artist, to lean into this, right?
Yes. Okay. I won't get too deeply into that one, but that was also a crossroads, because I hated my job. Like, I absolutely hated my job. And, for those that know me, like...
And you were doing more like, so there's a context, more like corporate work.
Yeah, I was doing more corporate work. And, like, for those of you that know me, apparently I'm less suited for corporate work. I didn't know that. I mean, I thought I was perfect for corporate work. I thought I could fit in anywhere, to be honest. But, that was a gut reaction because I was going through something very difficult, I was going through many difficult things, as some of you might know. I'll call it out now. My father died, plus like a couple of other things, right? Cue the tears. No? I'm kidding. I'm not going to cry.
Big moment.
But, past that, so in that moment, going back there, it was just such a heavy feeling. That was a gut reaction. And it was in the moment, I was like, no, I don't want this anymore. Didn't want it anymore. And so I just quit on the spot. And it was that.
What a rock star.
That was impulse. All right. That was impulse. So there's a difference between, thoughtful analysis. And I took my time to think about it. I asked a whole bunch of different people. And in that moment, I had a gut reaction. It was very emotional. And I don't do that very much anymore. And it's only when I'm in high stress situations or like highly emotional situations where I do that gut reaction. Yeah.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I think for me, one of the bigger decisions that I won't say that it was a difficult one because it was one that just came along, but I think that truly deviated the course of my life was after college. So growing up, I think I always imagined myself living in New York, as I think many people do.
Yeah.
And New York was always this place that I aspired to be, being in a big city, such a cosmopolitan international city with everyone busy, walking to work and all of that. So because it was such a dream and such a beautiful aspiration, I decided I wanted to save that for later. And clearly I'm one of those people who are like, save the best for last.
Okay.
So then after college, I somehow, without any reason whatsoever other than just like one job post, I ended up in Miami. Right after college, and that truly decided the rest of like a lot of the things. Like it changed where my home base is in the US. It changed kind of where my parents decided to choose their home base in the US. Like Miami was not even on our radar. Florida was not even on my mind. I went to school in California. California was everything I've ever known. New York is the only other city I was like contemplating. And somehow I ended up in Miami.
How did you end up in Miami? Because
of a job. A job that I just somehow, encountered, stumbled upon and decided, sure, let's move to Miami. And then now I go to Miami as home. Like it became my US home base.
Interesting. And why not New York again? Because you wanted that for later in life.
I somehow thought like, I can't go straight to the place you want to be. You have to work towards it.
Okay.
So even then, guys, like when I was in Miami and deciding to change jobs, I was thinking, do I go to New York? Do I go to San Francisco? And then I was like, New York gotta be for later because New York cannot do it too soon.
Okay.
So then I decided to go to San Francisco.
So you're saying when we retire and if we know each other in like 20 years, 30 years, God, we're going to work for another 30 years? Oh, my days.
I hope not.
Anyways, we're going to be opposite sides? We're going to be opposite sides.
Guys, the thing is, this is how funny growing up and adulting means, I think. New York is no longer my dream. I no longer have the desire to go to New York.
Yeah.
Like, And it's just really weird because it was such an aspiration. Could have been a great place. I think people enjoy their time in New York. So many people go through New York. It's a part of life. I don't think I'll ever get that. Nor do I truly want it anymore. But what a course of life, you know?
I'd be okay if you picked up on that dream again. I wouldn't mind moving to...
For those who think about it, Christina's not going to New York.
I don't think I'm moving back to the States anytime soon. I'm going to be in Asia for a little bit of a while. Obviously, things could change.
Things can change, yeah.
Things can change. But, interesting. Miami's an interesting one.
It's
I would
so
never
random,
have thought
right?
it. It is quite random.
Same, guys, like, same being in Asia. Like, no one knows. No one even understands why I'm in Asia. Like, I don't actually know how I ended up in Asia.
I'm a little... I don't think it's the worst idea. Honestly, because, like, Asia's got a lot of opportunities.
It's not about the worst idea or not. It's just, like, even my parents find it fascinating. They immigrated from Taiwan 40 years ago. They go to Peru. They raise their children abroad. The closest thing is, like, you go to the U.S. Never in their wildest dreams do they think they will be in Peru and their 2 kids are in Taiwan. Like, what?
This actually brings me back. This brings to, like, a really interesting question of, like, why are the both of us here? To be honest, like, I grew up in Hong Kong, and, like, I never thought that I would move to Taiwan, like, ever. I never thought when I was growing up.
Neither did I.
Honestly, for, like, 28 years of my life, maybe 30 years of my life, I never thought that I would move to Taiwan, just, like, ever. And I did. And I don't know, it just, for me, it was more like a gut reaction when I moved to Taiwan. It just made sense in the moment. So I feel like I've been living my life, because, like, you know how we're the one, like, I feel like we've talked about this before, about how you are more, like, you're definitely plan it a little bit more and you know what the steps are. Definitely have no plan. I'm definitely just winging it as I go, see what the universe, throws at me, and I just kind of go with it. So that's what that was. But then, again, last year, conscious decision to stay here. So it is interesting and why I'm here. I'm still thinking about it. So while I'm thinking about it, I need you to tell me, why are you here?
Guys, I don't know why I'm here. Like, and this is not only just a you question. This is every single catch-up call I have, everyone's asking me the same question. And you're right. Like, honestly, even during business school, Taiwan was not even on my radar. Like, this was only like a few years ago. The only reason Taiwan even truly came to mind was COVID. Without COVID, I would not be here, honestly.
This is true. So obviously Hong Kong during that time, before I moved here, Hong Kong was going through the unrest, right? Mm-hmm. And so freelancing there was already difficult. So things were already difficult. And then my parents were going to retire and move to Taiwan, And then just so happened, that Chinese New Year when COVID started to really come about, then I was like, me and my family started discussing, because we've been through it, SARS and all that kind of stuff, over the years, that something was probably going to happen. I thought, shit, I'm just not earning enough money here. My career is not going anywhere. Might as well. And at that point, I was already, like, my career felt stagnant. So it made sense for me to go to Taiwan and just, like, study and improve my career. So it made sense in that way. And I also wanted to, like, get in touch with my roots and all that, practice Mandarin. And then also, I felt like I was running away. So this is now where we're getting a little bit deep. I was definitely running away in Hong Kong. And I think around 28 years old, just like, that point when you're in your late 20s to like 30s, and in your 30s, you kind of figure yourself out. I think I was going through all of that turmoil, and like I kind of ran away to Taiwan because like growing up, Taiwan was always my place to be like, get away from like the hustle bustle of Hong Kong, the social hierarchy of Hong Kong. Like, and I loved just like getting away to Taiwan, where it was like the people were nice, the food was nice, no one gave a shit.
More calm and everything.
More calm, and like I will admit some preferential treatment because I'm mixed and I'm different here. Okay, I admit my privilege.
Not only a little bit, she gets away with a lot.
Oh, it is nice though. I won't not admit that. I do admit a little bit. But, so it was nice and it was comfortable here, and I always felt safe here. That is also the thing. Safety in Taiwan is so great.
We've talked about this so much because we hear so many stories about people in other places of the world where this is just not the case.
Yeah, it's not the case. And honestly, I've talked to a lot of foreigners that moved here specifically because they heard that it was really safe in Taiwan. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, it's nice to have the reputation here. And honestly, I feel so safe here. And it is really nice. And I feel like in this point of my life, especially because I was making the decision to like stay or go. And then, you know, during all that, you know, turmoil and just shit happening last year with like, you know, dad dying and all that kind of stuff, you know, I was in a really delicate fucking place. And like when I quit my job and all that kind of stuff, it made me more delicate and just all this other stuff happened. For me right now, I'm so comfortable here and I feel safe here and like, you know, all that kind of stuff. So for me, it really is easy living.
Yeah.
So right now, that's why I'm here. So I thought about it and I gave you the answer. All right. And
no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think I wanted to pick up on this thing you mentioned earlier because it's really interesting. I also thought of myself as someone who really weighed decisions heavily.
Yeah.
One of the, especially for big decisions, small decisions, I'm not so tied down to. But big decisions, I remember in college when choosing an internship for the summer, it would bring me to tears. It would bring me to tears because I was like, cannot make the wrong choice. Like I have to make the most perfect decision, the right decision. And oftentimes there truly isn't like a right decision. It's just a different experience.
Yeah.
And that has been me, like I want to say, you know, for the past few years. But then somehow after coming back to Taiwan, I think a lot more like laissez-faire, like just whatever happens, I go with the flow, to the point where people are like, so what are you thinking? I was like, I have no idea and I'm okay with it. I wonder if this is just a phase, this period, or this is just Christina going forward.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because you were going through last year. This last
couple
year,
of years,
you've been going through your
soul searching.
Your not only soul searching, just like this is like your year off. Even though I know you've been working, but it is light years. It's the light years. So I think that part's a phase. But I do think that you have over time, since the short time that I've known you, or
this is the last 5 months.
the stories that I know from before about you, and the stories now, and like watching you now, I do know that you you are able to make those decisions a little bit faster and less, not complain or dwell on them a little less, or they don't dwell on you so heavily.
I think
as much.
I think I realized that things can change so easily. Like there really isn't much point to overanalyze it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there really isn't the right choice. It's just more a different path.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think for me, and some of you also know that I've been dwelling on like different paths in life. There is truly no right or wrong. It doesn't mean it's the right, like there's no guarantees, and they can also just lead you down different paths. I think it's just the idea of how differently life can pan out. If I decided to move to the Netherlands, it would be fine as well. If I stayed, it would be fine as well. It's just a different life. Like I would be living a European life versus an Asian life. And I think that for me, I am a very nostalgic person, I think. And those things are just what I'm like, what could have been, you know?
The what could have been is a pretty like, you know, it's a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Of course, you always wonder, but
you always wonder.
Yeah, so you kind of have to like, I don't know, how do you stay rooted in your position? Trust yourself. That is the hard part. You have to go through that whole thing of like maturing and being like, I trust myself to make, this is the path, you know, and that's okay. Maybe it wasn't the right choice, but we're going to make it work now. It's about adapting, but it's so hard to adapt. Like, honestly, not everyone was raised in a way to like be able to cope with all of that change or like, you know, the scariness of making the wrong choice.
I think also just like with time and experience, but I think this is also us foreshadowing a little bit as to what might come. We do talk about, I think, more about this in a future episode where why Christina is so confident in her decision making. This won't last long. This is it's only this because I was told by my people, things are gonna be okay.
That's right. So it's nice that you have that trust in that.
But it will falter if they don't pan out.
Yeah, but you're the type of person that's okay if that will be okay if it doesn't pan out.
No, this one will
Devastate you?
devastate my core.
Well, that's...
Because I am rooting it all in this. So stay tuned to know what we're talking about. But like, yeah, no, this one has to pan out. I don't know.
Huh. You might be... I'm going to caution you a little bit there. You might be signing yourself up for...
What, that we shouldn't believe in witchcraft? Oh my God.
I mean, I love a little witchcraft. I do love a little bit of witchcraft. Not gonna lie. Like, my MBTI, I remember reading my MBTI is like, the most likely to believe in karma. I'm like, ugh. Okay, mine isn't karma. I don't really believe so much in karma. It's more like...
We just lost all of our...
I just enjoy the feeling of being like, ugh, I'm just gonna get a voodoo doll and... You know what I mean? Like, not like hurt
Don't
someone.
ever piss off Danny.
Or I'm gonna grab that voodoo doll and get you. No, it's about control, right? It's that sense of control.
It is a sense of control.
And that's, the crossroads things. It's so difficult sometimes. Like, I find it really difficult. Last year was so tough. Like, you're saying things can change at the drop of a hat. It fucking can. It so can. And it's so hard to, because you have to have, again, that maturity, that mental stability to be able to, like, navigate all of that. And I think, last year was so tough, I, like, didn't really have that. And so you have to rely on, like, your support, and, like, that's fucking tough. Not everyone has that. So, like, that crossroads thing, fucking hard if you're not in the right place, honestly.
Yeah, and you're right, like, because the way I do sometimes make decisions, and I'm very decisive in things, in certain things, in certain aspects, that when people are not the same way, I find it very curious. Like, I cannot understand. So I would be very curious to know how other people, the 11 people that listen to us, like, how do you guys make decisions?
Okay, I need to give you, like, a scenario as well. So, like, I know that you believe in
the
fortune telling kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
But hold on. So, like, and you're banking on that.
I'm banking on it, guys.
So when you say it like that, I can't quite tell if you're actually banking on it, because if I was banking on it, yes, and I really truly made myself believe and, like, banked on it,
yes,
and it didn't come true, I'd be fucking devastated.
Yeah,
I'd be, like, depressed for, like, a whole year.
Guys, so watch me fall apart live on podcast.
Really?
Yeah. Like, honestly.
I think our viewership would probably go up from that. We gotta actually post that on social media, too.
Just Christina bawling her eyes out.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, not only am I banking on it, my entire family's banking on it. So
probably because you convinced them to do that. Oh my god.
My dad's like, it better come true. And just to tell you guys, like, my parents are not, like, they don't believe in this until Christina, like, brainwashed the hell out of them.
God. Poor things. They don't know what's coming to them.
I mean, a lot of our viewers are also in the same pyramid scheme, we call it.
They are. She's roped in so many people into doing this, but you guys will hear about it in another episode. So,
we'll talk more about it.
Carrying on with Crossroads. What else you got?
No, I think the reason why we started thinking about this is because we wanted to talk about something, like, to have a theme for season 2. And I think as we talk more about just, like, how we're making our life decisions, the different people we know around us making life decisions, which I think is also an age thing. People are starting to make big life decisions that have ongoing consequences, right? We're talking about where to live, where to stay. Some people are deciding whether they want to have kids, right? Like, these are big decisions. And then the more we talk about, people moving to different countries, we talked about how you have a mixed background, understanding, like, how did your parents decide to raise you, what culture, and how, from their perspective in their generation, right? How does one decide to venture out to a different culture, community, and marry into that? I know now it's probably more commonplace. People maybe don't even overthink it when they are going through it. But in hindsight, these are big decisions, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're huge decisions, Yeah, I think Christina wanted to talk about Crossroads because she wanted to see me cry on screen. It's funny that you're talking about, like, I remember just the other day, like, we have a mutual friend that was talking about just going to church as well, like randomly going to church to see if something was different.
And she's not religious. Like
she's not religious.
She was I think she was brought up maybe in that culture, but she didn't grow up religious.
Yeah, and I didn't grow up religious either, but that I go to temple sometime to pay my respects. But so, like, it's interesting. It's interesting how things change and, like, why you choose that, like, path, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And Crossroads, man.
I think in a separate episode, we also talk about how spirituality and, like, religion and faith sometimes also play a role in these decisions, because when you don't know how to make decisions, you sometimes need something to help you maybe think about it,
Yeah. I wonder sometimes, I think it's different every single time. It's not just like, sometimes you can pull from spirituality or religion, and sometimes you can pull from community. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can pull from yourself. What are the different things that you can pull from? It's not just...
No, I think people listen to also, like, different experts' advices, read biographies. Like,
research.
I love, like, learning about how people dealt with things. But I think also something I've learned is that in hindsight, everything makes sense. But when you're going through it, you don't know.
No, of course. And it's scary when you don't know. Mm-hmm. It's like that thing of, like, do I believe in God to help me get through this? Or do I believe in myself to get through this? Like, what are we trusting here? We've got to trust something, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's no answer. And when there's no answer, it's fucking scary, right?
Yeah.
So, believing in God or having God be the one that's directing all of that is like, okay, now I trust it. It's in someone else's hands. It's not in my hands.
Exactly. Like, this idea of placing this responsibility on someone else, I think it's actually very helpful.
Oh, it's great. And, like, man, someone said, I was watching, it was an expert. He's all over Instagram as, like, relationship expert.
It has to be Matthew Hussey.
Yeah, it is him.
He's targeting all of my girlfriend's algorithm. Guys, oh my God.
So, okay, he isn't on my Instagram feed anymore, but he was before. And then my one friend, like, our mutual friend, sent me, like, a clip of him, and it was so great, talking about self-love and all that kind of stuff as a guidance for relationships. And, like, one of the things, what were we talking about?
I don't know, guidance, experts, research. Was that kind of what you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. Shoot. Anyways, I'll send you that clip later. That's such a dead end. I'm so sorry. I'm not editing this clip out either. I'm not editing this bit out. Anyways,
Okay, so to reel it back, I think
wait, I'm going back to it. It's about self-care, self-love, and trusting in yourself, and, finding guidance within yourself, and, like, because it's scary not knowing, it's scary not having an answer, which I've already said. So, all right, carry on.
I think in this season, we will also interview people that have had to make these big decisions. And I think it would be really interesting for us to also, talk to people who not only decided to move away from Taiwan, but who moved back to Taiwan, not being Taiwanese. I think that's actually fascinating to me. Like, how do you decide to move to Taiwan? Because, like, just of safety, you don't leave your own country just for this, like, there's sometimes a language barrier, there's a different culture, community that you're adapting to.
There's also the fact that, like, honestly, Taiwan's not the easiest country to move to as a foreigner. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. You're not a foreigner.
Language barrier is
not just language barrier, just, like, procedures, like government procedures, even stuff like taking out the trash. Like, I remember one of my friends just, like, didn't know that there's specific color bags for your, like, district, right? And if you don't have that, you're doing a no-no.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm so sorry.
You don't know that?
No.
Wait, really? I can't tell if you're joking with me.
I'm not joking. I just take out the trash and put it in building trash.
Sometimes do the other trash have colored bags?
No, we just put it in random.
Then yours is a totally fine one. Your building is the one that, like, sorts it all out. But, most places have, like, colored trash, bags. Specific colored trash bags, depending on and if you're not doing that, then you're doing a no-no.
Oh, getting kicked out of Taiwan so soon, huh?
For trash bags. All right. I don't even know where we are. All right. Where are we?
Um, I think we're talking about, these big decisions, but we cover them so fast, so then we're just like skipping through these places.
I like this question. Are you more the type of person to go with the flow or believe everything works out, or do you weigh every decision heavily? I know that we've discussed about this, but I like that. Are you the type of person to go with the flow?
Are you?
You know what? I was under the impression that I was.
I don't think you are.
I was for a long time, but ever since you've known me, I haven't.
I think we should address this a little bit.
What?
That the way we think about ourselves, and the way we've been known to the world for most of our lives, is not the versions that neither of us have met each other in.
Yeah.
Which I find fascinating, because it means that we've met each other already in this like new phase or new crossroad decision.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about this in last season. We didn't, I'm quite a different person than I was before, honestly. And I think it's because I just know myself a lot better.
But it's not it's not just by like the sheer like time. Like it's not just like, oh, we're a more mature version of ourselves. It's like the way we behave completely contradicts how we are expected to by the rest of the world who's not living in Taiwan right now.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like me, the fact that I am like not planning things, going with the flow. People have no idea who this Christina is. I don't even know who this Christina is. Like, honestly.
And I'm the opposite of, like, I'm making plans. And I'm, like, trying to make plans. Trying to get things done. Before that, I was really go with the flow. As in, like, I would just, I wouldn't, I didn't plan my career. Like, of course I didn't plan my career. I didn't plan to move here. Like, at all.
Yeah.
And I didn't plan to go to school until, like, the very moment that I was gonna.
So I find this fascinating, and I think because of this, like, such contrasting versions of ourselves, I mean, honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast, like, because we were so in such different like chapters of our lives that we were like, we gotta anchor ourselves somewhere.
I think, yeah, I think it's a little bit of that, but I also think, I was thinking about this just the other day. I think we're doing the podcast mostly because we like to debate. We debate a lot. We talk about a lot of things.
I mean, yes, debate, but like also like what's like, how we approach things, like the views of things,
Or what? Different?
How like we come across with one version, but then we feel like we are moving into like a completely different version of ourselves.
I think it's always been like that for me, though. In the
really?
sense that, like, I think I just didn't know myself very well. And and it was easier to just fit the mold of whatever other people thought I was like. And I think, but the thing is, I'm still, like, undecided about that, because I remember after quitting my job, my friend was like, yeah, I'm not surprised you didn't, like, I can't imagine you in corporate. And I was like, really? I was, like, totally I was set on doing that, but apparently, I don't know, I just don't know myself very well, or didn't know myself very well. I'd wager I know myself pretty well now.
Okay.
It's a big statement. Very big statement.
Big statement.
Yeah.
Danny had a lot of time to think about herself.
Yeah. It's been nothing but, like, spiritual and existential crisis for, like, the last, how many months are we gonna count? Over a year. It's been, like, 12, 13 months. It's been 13 months. 13 months.
Wow.
Since last February.
Well, we're in March now, so yeah.
Yeah. 13 months of existentialism.
The evolution of Danny.
Yeah. From, I don't know, wild party girl to,
Can you guys imagine her wild party girl?
Artist. Passionate artist.
Like, for example, people think I'm such an extrovert and I'm such an introvert, guys. Like, this is a change as well. I used to be so much more social.
Yeah, and... yeah. Oh, yeah, I used to be so much more social, too. Wait. No, I'm pretty much in the same position that I was before.
You think so?
I'm very, like, extroverted. When people meet me, I'm very extroverted. But I've told you this so many times, like, because I'm just not convinced that I'm fully extroverted. And, like, when I take the MBTI, every single time it comes out, like, 51%, 49%. Right?
I guess we're just undecided humans. We're always living in crossroads. That's what we are.
We're always living at crossroads. That's a true statement, I think, just for everyone. But, yeah, so, like, I'm very extroverted when I meet people, but, I definitely have, like, someone said this to me the other day. They're like, you look like such a strong and, like, passionate, and, like, you're gonna be, like, strong, passionate person, and, like, but you, talking to me, like, have such a vulnerability to you, and, like, so sensitive, like, I didn't even know that, and they've known me for, like, a really long time, and I thought that was really interesting. So there's that, like, the parts that, how people perceive me, and then there's like that little bit. I think just the same with everyone, I guess.
Yeah, but anyway, so to loop us back in, I think for us to I think this season is going to be a lot of like these conversations, and I think through different discussions we've been having with friends amongst us about how they're making their decisions, I think it's been very interesting for me. I don't know if you've had these conversations recently, because I feel like everyone's going through a lot of transition these past couple of years. I reckon it's age, I reckon it's chapter of life, stage of life, all of this. But I am finding it fascinating to hear how people are approaching things, how people who I've always thought were similar to me are completely different, or how they would expect me to behave and I behave differently. Like, just how we approach things. And there is really no right or wrong, but how, I don't know, like how people are able to adapt, how people are not able to adapt. And I am very curious to know what new information we find throughout the season.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious too, actually. And I want to explore more of like this Crossroads things, because it's something that, we talked about in season 1. I want to I love that idea. Like, I guess I'm that MBTI that believes in karma kind of thing, which I don't, but okay. Anyways, that idea of, different paths and living a different life, and it's just so beautiful, and like that beautiful nostalgia. I think that's a great way of explaining it, that nostalgia. Having a nostalgia. It's not so much regret, it's nostalgia.
I think about it so much. I think about it way too much.
Yeah.
And I think for me, and we will have there will be a whole episode about the path not taken.
Oh my god.
Which I think would be super fun.
Oh my god, I might cry in that one, I swear.
And we can go down this like rabbit hole of all the things we could have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the people we've met and have not kept in touch with, all the places we could have gone and haven't gone, all the places we could have moved, all the jobs we didn't take.
And it's different from regret. It's different.
It's not regret.
It's not regret. It's different.
It's not regret, but because it's just the path not taken. And it's not guaranteed to be better or worse.
Yeah.
It's just, it would have been just a different life, right?
Right.
Regret, sliding doors.
It's sliding doors, yeah. Regret would be more like, fuck, I should have done that. I should have done that. And it's a terrible feeling, but nostalgia is more like what could have been. What could have been. It's not necessarily good or bad. It's more like that would have been different life, and like, it's got like a bittersweet feeling. It's a bittersweet.
You know how I love bittersweet. Oh,
I hate bittersweet. It's just so sad.
I love bittersweet.
It's sad. It's beautiful. It's good. It's bad. It's so many different things.
So many emotions.
Yeah. So I've decided that the laptop doesn't quite suit me.
Okay.
So
I will carry the laptop
again.
I think this episode was just for us to warm up, to talk about kind of what Crossroads were coming up, the topic of the season.
Yeah.
What major decisions we faced before. I think moving, has been major for us. We don't have kids. We don't have marriages to think about.
Just yet.
This one we won't share.
All right. Okay. All right. What else have we got to talk about? Recap?
Yes, and let's recap, and I want to talk about what I did yesterday to the crew.
Oh, okay. Recap.
I mean, I feel like we've just been recapping the entire conversation.
I think we have been recapping the entire conversation. I really like the I still wanted to like elaborate a little bit more about, I find it fascinating, maybe just not elaborate, but just like state it. I find it fascinating that 2 different international like lives, and actually we know a few like international lives that ended up in Taiwan, of all places. Like, Taiwan's not the most international city, and I find that fascinating. And then I just like the whole idea of that nostalgia, and that, nostalgia versus regret. It is nostalgia when you think about the path not taken. And Crossroads is just such a good topic. It's a pretty heavy topic, though. I think it is a very heavy topic. It's interesting. It's going to be an interesting season.
I think so, too. I think for me, it's just, and for those who know me, like the last couple of years, making decisions have been such a big part of my life, because again, the path's not taken, what I would have expected the path of my life to take, and how different it has actually come to fruition. I could have never predicted any of this. And then I guess in those moments of uncertainty, in those moments of indecision, you start looking back at all those big moments where you had to decide, moving to Miami, moving, doing taking different jobs, recently deciding whether or not I wanted to live my European life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the things that I could have done, the things I couldn't have done. You know
what the best way to do this? Take a lot of drugs or smoke a lot of weed. And then
not in Taiwan because we're not allowed to do it.
We wouldn't do that here. No. We obviously
we'll go to Amsterdam.
We would do that in a really legal place, obviously.
Amsterdam.
Do that, trip out like crazy, and then live your life in that trip out.
Oh, because someone did the research. Because not in Taiwan.
Not in Taiwan, obviously. No. Anyways, you could do that. That's a good way to do it. Just trip out on a whole bunch of drugs and see if that works.
And just like live the alternate life.
Live the alternate life in a Groundhog Day in your fucking head, because you know how sometimes that can happen where you where time never fucking ends.
That sounds so insane.
Yeah, it does sound insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, do you remember that night that I messaged you?
Oh, of course. She was like, I think I'm an interstellar.
I think I'm gonna die. Anyways, yeah.
So I am excited to see what the conversations we have coming up. And I think, just to share with everyone, I think this year we'll also be going through some real life crossroads ourselves. So we shall see if any of those come on camera.
Oh dear. Oh, I'm kind of nervous. I'm going to be nervous. All right.
And I just wanted to share with everyone, major milestone yesterday, I got Botox for you guys so I can look good on camera.
How do you
You're
feel?
welcome, guys.
How do you feel?
I feel fine. I feel normal. Do I look okay? Like, I want feedback. You guys should message me. Yes, message me.
She also changed her hair for you. I mean, what else can she do? Just give
Clearly
her some...
drumming up something happening.
Give her some love. Just give her some love, all right? Give her some love. She deserves it. All right.
All right, guys.
Are we wrapping up?
We are wrapping up. So thank you guys for this, and we'll see you guys next season.
Yeah, and of course, follow us on all the different social media, and we'll see you next episode.
Next episode.
All right, bye,
Thank
everyone.
you for dealing with us. Bye.